Hello everyone, my name is Christina and I'm a medical student studying at Newcastle, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the things that I've learned from journaling over the past 4 or 5 years and different tips for you guys to get started as well. So starting off with what journaling is pretty much just getting your thoughts and feelings onto paper. So this can literally just be as a diary entry, like writing about your thoughts on yesterday, or writing about how you feel about that embarrassing moment from like 3 years ago, or just writing about literally anything and everything. It's literally just an opportunity for you to get all your thoughts and feelings and just all the whizzing thoughts that you have about something onto paper. That way you've got it as a permanent record and you can kind of look back and reflect on it later. Just had a look at the definition of what journaling actually is, and it says that journaling generally involves the practice of keeping a diary or journal that explores your thoughts and feelings surrounding your events of your life. It's literally just writing about anything and everything. I love that with journaling there's not really any rules. So moving on to what's really helped me and what I've gained from journaling, I'd say the main one for me is just self-awareness. I think as soon as I started journaling and doing it regularly, I just started to become so much more self-aware. I think if you've ever wondered, like, I don't know why I'm like this, or I don't know why I do this, this is just the way that I am, I think journaling would be really, really helpful for you. I was able to get to a point where I really understood why I had the thought patterns I had, and I was able to understand why I was acting in a certain way during certain experiences and situations. So self-awareness is definitely a massive thing. Journaling also really helped me to understand where I could improve on things. So the amazing thing about journaling is that because you're writing down your experiences and how you responded to them, you kind of know where your weak points are and where you're kind of, I guess, self-sabotaging. So I was self-sabotaging a lot in social situations, and being able to have a record of that and look back over the years, it just really allowed me to understand, like, okay, I keep messing up in this certain situation, this is probably where I can improve on. So yeah, being able to kind of have a record of things and see what I'm kind of not so great at, and then, you know, certain things I was good at, I guess there's always a positive side to things. But yeah, it's so nice to see where your negative areas are, because then you know that where you can improve on. Another thing I've learned from journaling is just how much you can change in such a short space of time. I have a physical diary that I used to write in back in the day, and being able to look back on some of the things that I wrote is honestly mind-blowing. It's kind of heartbreaking to see like what I used to write, because it used to be really, really negative, but I guess it is really nice to just see how far I've come. So even if you guys aren't really in journaling, I'd honestly encourage you just to write like an entry or two, just so that you can look back on it in like a year's time, because I think you'll honestly be blown away by how much you've changed as a person. I definitely am, by how much I've changed in like the past 2 or 3 years, let alone the past 5 years when I first started journaling. So yeah, just being able to see how much I've grown is mind-blowing. It's also really helped me to improve my creativity. So back in the day, I used to think that I wasn't very creative as a person. Like, I've always been very academic and science focused and maths, but I used to love maths. But I think because I had all the ideas in my head and I wasn't able to get them onto paper, I think being able to do that now with journaling, especially over the years, it's just allowed me to get all my ideas down, even if it's just kind of talking about what happened yesterday, or I had this idea. I think being able to kind of have a place for your creativity is really helpful, because it kind of maybe brings about more creativity. I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, I've noticed that I'm a lot more creative now. I think that's kind of manifested in the YouTube channel and the blog as well. But yeah, creativity is definitely a big plus for journaling. It's also a great way to manage your stress. So I think holding on to all your thoughts, and negative thoughts especially, and all the things that are stressing you out, all your negative experiences, all the things that kind of make you overthink and become anxious, being able to kind of get them onto paper and just get them out of your head is a massive, like, I think, emotional release. It really, really helps to just de-stress and calm down. And it's also a great way to kind of understand why that thing stresses you out. So things won't stress you out for no reason. There's always going to be a reason why, and sometimes, you know, we're not self-aware enough to know why it stresses us out. So being able to kind of get it onto paper and physically see it can kind of help us reflect a bit more. And yeah, I've definitely noticed that helps with my stress. Even though I wasn't a very stressy person beforehand, it's definitely helped me now. I also take part in I also do gratitude every morning. So every morning I try and write down 3 things I'm grateful for. First thing, literally as soon as I wake up. And I think when I first started this, I didn't notice a difference. I thought, like, what's the point in this? Why does everyone bang on about gratitude and stuff? But over the months, and I think it hasn't been quite a full year yet since I've been doing it, but I think it's coming up to a year. Over time, when you just gradually every single day list what you're grateful for, I think you really do start to notice a difference. Further on down the line, you start to just realize that you have so much already. Even though there's a bunch of things that maybe you wish you had, or, you know, you want to have, you already have so much. And I think I'm really starting to reap the benefits of gratitude now, months later, since I've started doing my gratitude practice. But I've realized that I'm so grateful for what I have, and I kind of feel like I don't need any more. Like, I literally have everything I need. Just practicing gratitude, even if you don't want to journal and write a full-on diary entry about how you feel, just listing 3 things that you're grateful for does go a long way, and I definitely recommend that's a great starting point. But I'm going to get onto tips to get started later. So another big one is that journaling has definitely helped me to manage and, if anything, overcome my anxiety. This was something that I really struggled to come to terms with because I never had the traditional symptoms of anxiety like panic attacks or stuff like that. But being able to kind of speak to my GP, speak to my counsellors, and kind of reflect on how I used to feel in my diary entries, it really opened my eyes. You know, I definitely was anxious, I definitely had anxiety, but I'm planning a whole entire video. It might already be out or it might be coming up soon, but I've got a whole entire video written out and ready for you guys on the 8 main concepts that help me overcome anxiety. I think journaling and mindfulness, those are the 2 things that really did help me overcome my anxiety. And journaling definitely, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to put it across well, but being able to just get all your thoughts onto paper, all the things that you're worried about, all the things that you overthink and just dramatize in your head, getting them onto paper really does help, especially when you do that regularly over a long period of time, especially when it comes to anxiety, because I think with anxiety you tend to kind of overthink and just, you know, you just replay all the embarrassing moments over and over in your head, all the negative experiences in your head, all the horrible things people said to you. So being able to just kind of get them out, why do I keep overthinking this? Why is this constantly on my mind? And then just analyze it and understand. I think that's the key thing. It really helps you to understand why you are the way you are. I was able to kind of understand my triggers and what was triggering my anxiety, as well as how I was kind of self-sabotaging and keeping it going. So I touched on this in my first year at medical school video, but basically I wasn't very great in social situations, and I tended to fall into the trap of trying to go out, it not going very well, and then I would just kind of stay in my room and not go out of my comfort zone again. And so yeah, journaling helped me to kind of become aware of that, but in so many other ways as well. That's the only example I can think of right now, but journaling is definitely a great way to help you overcome anxiety. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I highly recommend you kind of stay tuned for the tips that I've got coming up, because yeah, journaling is definitely helpful for anyone with anxiety. So moving on to the tips on how to get started. So my main and number one is to use your phone. It doesn't have to be on paper. I started off with paper like 4 or 5 years ago when I first ever started, but I've now moved on to my phone. I'm definitely more digital now than I was, you know, a couple of years ago. So I use the app Notion, which I think I'm planning a whole video on because I use Notion a lot. I use Notion for everything. But yeah, I have my journal over on Notion. But yeah, you don't have to use, you know, paper. Definitely just use your phone. It's easier to get started on your phone, I think. There are so many great apps specifically for diary entries and journals and stuff. I think Notion is a great one, but also there's Diaro. There's so many on the App Store, Google and Android, so there's definitely something for everyone. You don't have to pay for anything as well. A lot of these apps are free. So start small. You don't have to start off with writing like full-on, you know, essays or dissertations about your experiences. I started off with just writing 3 things I'm grateful for every morning. You could also maybe add on like, you know, 1 thing that you overcame today, or 1 thing that you want to overcome tomorrow, 1 thing you want to work towards tomorrow, maybe a goal for the week. Start small. Start off with just writing 3 things you're grateful for, and then maybe build from there. Gratitude, as I mentioned before, definitely has a domino effect. You won't notice the difference immediately. I didn't. Maybe you will. That'll be cool. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, you definitely notice the difference over the long term. You just start to have like a massive appreciation for everything, which is always a good thing, I think. And I think gratitude is one of those things that the more you do it, the more like positive things you bring to yourself. I'm still reading a lot about that and I don't know much about it at the moment, but yeah, gratitude definitely has a massive positive effect. If there's one thing you take away from this video, it's definitely to start to practice gratitude. So forget grammar. This is not like, you know, going to be a published essay. It's not going to be in a book. It's not, you know, anything serious or professional. It's literally just a chance for you to get out your thoughts and try and understand them, make sense of them, and use it to help improve yourself later on. Don't try and get too caught up onto grammar and stuff like that. I will be honest, I tend to get a bit like iffy with grammar because I use the extension Grammarly, so it kind of underlines things in red if it's not spelled correctly. So seeing a bunch of red lines irritates me a bit, so I correct mine. But if you're just doing it on your phone, then don't worry about grammar, don't worry about punctuation, spelling and stuff like that. There really shouldn't be any restrictions with journaling. There shouldn't be kind of any grammatical things or you know, punctuation stuff that's kind of limiting from you from writing. It really should just be like freely right across the page. So yeah, forget grammar. It's literally just for you. It's private. Don't worry about anything like that. So last but not least, this is definitely one of the biggest ones, and I think one of the most fun ones, is to use journaling prompts. So journaling prompts are essentially just pretty much questions to answer to help you kind of get started with journaling and to help you kind of explore your thoughts a bit more. So if you've not done much journaling before, I think this is a great place to start because you don't have to think about what to write. You literally just answer the questions. So I'll put a couple pictures of my favorite journaling prompts on the screen, but some of them, they really vary. There's some for like you know, work life, your career. There's some for just kind of like self-confidence and stuff. There's so many different genres of journaling prompts. So definitely have a look on Google. Just Google like maybe a word that you're struggling with or want to kind of explore a bit more, and then put journaling prompts next to it. And yeah, there's going to be absolutely loads. Journaling has been something that's helped me so much over the years, and it's so amazing to look back on what I used to write about, like my experiences at school, my experiences applying for uni, and then to see that I'm at uni now. It's so nice to look back and stuff. Let me know in the comments if you've ever journaled before, or if you're thinking of journaling, especially after watching this video. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. I'm definitely more digital now than I am. So moving on to the tips. The one for me, the